Hey everyone, welcome to IMAGI-NATION TV. I'm Dorcas Mapakela. This is week 14, episode 66, and we are featuring keynote speaker today. And we are still on the topic of yes and. Just a quick reflection on what happened yesterday. We had a lot to learn about yes and we had some incredible people on our panel. And some of the learnings that we got out of there was Paul spoke about being intentional and the power of clarity in what it is that you want to do, because when you're deciding to say yes to that opportunity, you better know where you're going. And Anissa spoke about the power of using failure as an opportunity to learn and further yourself. So yeah, it was incredible. And Dan spoke about the energy. It was just so incredible to hear from a scientist as well. And that everything that we're experiencing, we have the power to create. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce my co-host today, all the way from the continent of Africa, Shiaka. Please take over.
Thank you, Dorcas. Thank you for introducing me. I'm excited to co-host with you. Welcome everyone to IMAGI-NATION TV. My name is Shaka, your host today for the African episode. It's episode 66, week 14 of IMAGI-NATION TV. I am the lead mentor of the AIM mentoring program in Uganda, in Africa at Cavendish University, and today I'm going to be your host. As Dorcas has mentioned, this week's theme is yes and we have a lot of exciting things coming ahead of us. We have a keynote speaker, we have a live audience, we have our 60 seconds challenge from a principal, then we also have a university chancellor 60 seconds challenge from Professor Norman Duncan from Pretoria University. Our keynote speaker is Aminatou Sar. I'm excited to hear from this amazing woman, the things she has done and everything running around in her world, and sharing with us what yes and means to her. So without going so much into spoilers, I'll head into introduction of our live audience. We have Mohammed Ibrahim from Dungeri Model School in Nigeria. Mohammed, do you want to say hi to the viewers? We're being viewed from across the world.
Hi everyone. Good morning.
How do you feel, Mohammed?
I'm feeling great. I'm doing good.
Cool. What are you expecting out of the show today?
Many things.
Exciting. There's so many things coming up. Mohammed, our theme today is yes and. Do you want to say anything about yes and? What does yes and mean to you?
Yes, and not really.
Thank you, Mohammed. We have someone else in the live audience who is Umal Muhammad Degiri, also from Degiri Modern School in Nigeria. Omar, you want to say hi to the audience and tell us how you're feeling about today's show? Omar, are you there? As Umal is trying to fix all his technical things with the internet and everything. Also, Magate is another audience, is another one in the live audience. Magate, you want to say hi before
Hi,
I throw
everyone.
it?
Hi, my name is Maguette. I'm based in Senegal, Dakar, and I'm working at PATH as a digital health advisor.
Thank you. So I'll throw it back to my co-host, Dorcas, to introduce our next segment in the show.
Thank you, Siaka, and thank you to our live audience. Lovely to meet you all. As you rightly said, our next segment is the 60-second challenge with the principal, and we've got Principal Miss Modesta Mafuko from St. Peter's High School, I believe in Zimbabwe. So yeah, let's throw it over to that video and see how she did.
Hi, Ms. Mafuko. I wait for your questions.
How are you? Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
My idea of perfect happiness is when people surrounding me are full of joy.
On what occasions are you out of your comfort zone?
When things are not working well, when the economic situation is not conducive.
What quality do you most value in people?
Honesty.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
When our pass rate reached the top 100.
What is it that you most dislike?
I dislike working with people who are pessimistic.
Okay, thank you.
Amazing, great answers. Thank you so much to Principal Modesta Mafuko. And just in general, we like to appreciate the principals who come on the show because, you know, they inspire us, they inspire the kids that they work with. So we are truly appreciative. And now I'm going to throw it over to our host, Siaka, to take us through to the next part of the show.
Thank you, Dorcas. So much thanks to our principal from Zimbabwe. Now the next challenge, our 60-second challenge, is Prof. Norman Duncan from Pretoria University. How are you feeling, Prof?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Feeling so good. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to take you through the 60-second challenge. The first question in your challenge is, on what occasion do you value rebelliousness?
On what occasion do I value rebelliousness?
Yep.
Is that the question? Well, I suppose when young people have to assert themselves and find their own direction, sometimes it's against the traditions and what we want, but it's good for them.
Cool. Thank you, Prof. What or who is the greatest love of your life, Prof. Duncan?
I mean, reading. I love reading, I love music, and if I can only do that, I'd be a very happy person.
What is it that you most dislike, Prof?
Like the previous speaker, I dislike dishonesty intensely. I think people should be honest, and then we live in a better world.
Thank you so much, Prof. That's it for our 60-second challenge. Thank you for jumping in. We appreciate so much your time. And at this very moment in the show, thank you for the people in the live chat. I see you're sending us so much love. I see everything happening. So at this moment, I will introduce our wizard, 180 seconds of wizardry. And today we have the founder of Z2 Africa, Arnold Mugaga, who is going to show us what he does and how amazing he's using creativity and design to solve problems.
Hi everybody, my name is Arnold Mugaga. I am an entrepreneur based in Uganda, and my wizardry, my superpower is design. What do I design? Simple things. This backpack. We design a series of bags that are not only handmade, really cool and purely African. For every one that we sell, we make one of these bags. This is a school bag we call the seat pack. It comes with a bamboo chair that every child gets to open up. They have a seat the way I'm seated, and then they take a writing board out of their bag. They place that on their thighs and they can take their notes. Why do we do this? because over 95 million children across the continent cannot afford wooden lockers. So I use design to improve the learning of children across the continent. Ha ha ha! Really cool, right? So, a cool thing that I like to show off about this particular bag, I had to remind myself, is that when you buy it, you scan your label, you place your camera over your label, you see it says tap to scan, and when you scan that, it takes you to the site where you can see the child and the classroom for which you have contributed to better learning. Now, what I'd like to share is something I continue to learn every day, is belief, this thing called faith, to believe in yourself. And this word, believe, it has two parts. There is be and there is live. Be, of course, you be, you, right? Live means to be gentle, to be humble, and to be easy. To be easy. So you be gentle, you be easy with yourself, in a sense. Why I interpret it like this is to say that you are perfect the way you are. You never look at a cloud and think that cloud is wrong. Or you never look at a candle and think that candle is weird. It's a candle and it's a cloud and it's unique. And it's the same way that you are. And so you should enjoy that being easy with yourself and accept this is how you are. It's really cool. However, I like to remind myself that even while I believe in myself, I should make sure that I'm not the chicken that steps on the egg. Because if I step on the egg, then my kind will no longer exist because of me. I hope it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you. Keep enjoying yourselves and come in and design with us. Check us out. Thanks for having me, and be cool. Use your imagination. It has no limits. None. In my spare time, I'm an urban designer, so I design farms. This is a little farm on our balcony, and we eat fresh food every day, and we're waiting on the tomatoes to grow. So cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Arnold. Amazing. It's so cool what you're doing, and you're getting some love from the live audience. Armin is saying, Arnold, you're truly a wizard. That superpower can change the world. Odong says, I like the creativity. Arnold, amazing. So we have Arnold live on the show. Arnold, welcome to the show, and thank you for sharing with us your wizardry. How are you feeling today?
I feel super. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody. Thank you for showing our work some love. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us a little bit, Arnold. What sort of mind mode were you on to think of a chair that turns, or a backpack that turns into classroom furniture?
You know what's interesting is the space in which I was at the time was a searching. I was looking for a sense of purpose because I trained and I studied and trained as an architect, and it didn't feel enough. I always felt like I have something that can do more, which is an understanding of a process to take to look at a blank piece of paper and come up with something. And at the time, it was really that searching within myself. And then this frustration around me that as Africa, we're always on the receiving end of things. We always wait for some kind of solution, and then we adapt, and then we adopt it in a sense. And hence the word Zetu Africa. It's Swahili for ours Africa. That if this is our home, what is not right is ours, and what is right is ours. So it was with that mindset that I started to explore with a few friends. Like, okay, let's take some things that don't work and let's own them. Like, what can we do about them? That's pretty much it. A sense of ownership, responsibility, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, Arnold. One more thing before I let you go, or maybe let you enjoy the rest of the show. What our theme this week is yes and. What does yes and mean to you in your world? How do you take this attitude of yes and?
Wow. That this question is special. I feel like nothing is by mistake in a sense, because when the pandemic struck and we went into quarantine, I started to feel like I should challenge myself, and I found myself saying no to a lot of things. Let's do a workout now. No. Do you want to learn? No. And it's the coolest way to challenge yourself is to say yes more. And it, for me, it has been liberating through the last 3 months. Also, I found that this is just me, that, there's always two sides to a coin, right? White, black, up, down, on, off, yes, no. And mentally, if your attitude is, it could either be and or it could be but. An and person is always searching, exploring. They always take the challenge on. A but sort of stops the river, and pushes the water further, lets you flow. And that's my understanding of yes and. Yes and is like the coolest thing, actually, if you think about it.
Thank you so much, Arnold. Thank you. You can stick around and watch the rest of the show. It's amazing. It's amazing when we say yes and try to solve our own problems. So our next segment, I'm going to introduce another amazing figure from Africa, another amazing lady who is our keynote speaker today. And her name is Aminat Saf from Senegal. And she is the country director of PATH Senegal. Also, an activist, a radio presenter, and she will tell us more about PATH as an international non-profit organization and her work and everything. Aminatou, welcome to the show.
Hi, Shiaka. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And of course, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all those who are following the live stream on YouTube as well.
The show is yours. You are our keynote guest today.
Yes, and I will start talking about actually when I was born. When I was born, I was barely 4 pounds. It's quite funny when you see me today. I'm not that tiny. And at that time, my mom would go every day at the hospital and ask herself before entering to the hospital if she will find me alive, because I was still under this respiratory care and so on. So every day she was asking herself whether I will survive. And then when she was telling me the story a few years after, I look at her and I say, you should have asked me, because I would respond yes, and then I would thrive, actually. So I grew up in a neighborhood with lots of families from several countries, hearing lots of languages, French, English, Wolof, Bambara, Fulani. It was quite a mixed neighborhood. But I think what has been unique in our family in this neighborhood is we were the biggest family. I'm born in a family of 15, so I have 14 siblings. And of course, when you have 14 siblings, you need to just be loud to be heard. So it is maybe where I took all my strengths. And this is where I think that it is important to understand that it's good to hear a yes when you ask for something. I grew up in this family of 15, and saw my father passing away when I was 2. He was the breadwinner of the family, and here is my mom with all these kids. And she didn't felt in desperation. She was saying, yes, we are here. We need to stick together, and we will do it. So this is a woman who didn't go to school, but really was very strict on us going to school, be it my brothers or my sisters, myself. The only ask was, you need to go to school because this is what will change things for you. And it is important at the same time that you accomplish a kind of destiny. So this admirable woman told us that, yes, it's hard, and it will be hard at some point, but at the same time, this is how you grow and how you get your strength. And as long as we stick together and we are in solidarity and we do something for each other, then it will be not that hard actually, because we are together. So this is how I went to school in the neighborhood, going to school by feet. Primary school was great because it is close to my house. And then I went to a secondary school. It was far by foot. I was walking back and forth to go to school every day under the sun, will it rain or not? And every day having this mom pushing us to accomplish what she was wishing for us. So yes, it has been hard, and at the same time, it was a school of life. We've been learning lots of things at school, but we've been also learning to socialize, meeting different people, meeting different background, people richer than myself, and people with much more challenges in their families than myself. So that's why it is important to understand that actually our situation has nothing unique. We are not unique in our wealth. We are not unique in our challenges. And what is much more important is the ability maybe to say, yes, I can do that and I will do it. From my secondary school, it has been rough for many Senegalese at that time of my generation, because this was where this democracy riots, lots of riots in schools, lots of fighting with the government. I am from this generation which has lost 2 years of studies, because 1 year was a year that has been considered not a school year, and then the second year, the whole year has been cancelled. So when I reached college, the university, I was quite old, let's say that. So when I was about to go to the university, I asked myself what I want to do. Of course, I asked myself maybe too late, because I have some anecdotes on how I ended up being a journalist. I was looking the university, the days and days and months and weeks of riots at the university that maybe would not help me to do the study in a stable situation. I asked myself, do I want to go to the campus, to the university, or I may want to go to a specific schools linked to the university. And this is how I start looking around and see that the only actually remaining school exam was the journalism school. So I went to the journalism school and asked what are the conditions, the requirements to apply, and then they said you need to bring this paper, and of course I didn't have these papers handy. And this is where the yes is really very important to me. When I was why I'm telling this story, this is where I needed a police clearance paper, which is required for any of this, what we call concours. So I went to the tribunal and asked for the paper. And then the guy said, you can't have it before 48 hours. That was too long, because that was the very day that I had to give that paper for my registration. for the contest. So what I did is I knocked at the first door I found. Didn't know the person inside. I just knocked and explained my situation. I say, I need the paper today. I know that it takes more time than that to do that, but it is very important for my future. It is for an important exam that I need to do. And then the guy looked at me quite shocked and astonished because I was quite young when I did that. And then he did the paper for me right away. So I ran back to the school, journalism school, and bring my papers. And at that time, I tried to embark one of my friends, and she was saying, "Why are you doing this? You are not going to make it." And I told her, I remember, yes, I will, and I will go to this school. I gave my paper, did the concours. It was a big selection. They even used an amphitheater for the first leg of the selection. We were almost 1,500 students doing the exam, and then out of them they took 100, and I was among that 100. And then they did another tour of selection, and I came very relaxed at that selection. And then still my friends didn't believe that I'm doing this. And I was hopeful that I will make it. And I keep on saying, yes, I will go through, and I will be among the one who will be selected to go to this journalism school. And I was. So it is a perfect example of the sky is the limit. You can decide whether the sky is low or high above your head, and when you're there, then you can achieve things. This is how I get to this journalism school. Did journalism. We're working on the first radio stations, the private radio station at that time. There was only one voice coming from government's radio station, so it was revolutionary to have these private radio stations coming in the media landscape. And I adored it because that was new. Senegalese was so happy to hear a lot of voice than the voice of the government, and that was one of the most vibrant times in Senegal. After the studies, of course, I started working on this radio station, and I shifted to NGOs because I felt that this is maybe where I can make a difference, because yes, it's a job. And what it is where we need also to see how we can contribute better than more than just having the bread on the table. What we can do that is meaningful to us, but also meaningful to our community. And I started working with Plan International, working on child rights, promoting child rights through radio. I was still doing radio shows with young people in lots of countries in West Africa, using local languages, really giving children a platform for expression about their rights, what their dreams are in front of their parents, in front of their communities. That was very excited until I came up to Amnesty International. Amnesty International was one of, for me, the most touching and difficult times in terms of career, but in terms of topic of work. Amnesty is known for its work on civil rights and political rights, lots of difficulties, but I worked on human rights education because I strongly believe that the more people know their rights, the more they can protect them, and the more they can protect other people's rights. And of course, this is how we can reduce the human rights violations that we were seeing. And at this point, this is where I wanted to share a short video of the work I've been doing with Amnesty International on human rights education.
Au tout début, il y avait une page blanche et tout restait à faire en Afrique, où il est difficile pour des populations parfois sous-éduquées de faire valoir leurs droits. Afin d'enrayer ces fléaux et redonner une perspective d'avenir pour les victimes de sévices, il faut agir à la racine, avec les gens concernés, dans les communautés les plus démunies et isolées. Nous sommes une organisation qui relie les personnes en détresse avec les personnes les plus à même de défendre leurs droits. Avec ses 89 projets mis en œuvre dans 10 pays de l'Afrique, le projet EDH, Éducation aux droits humains, d'Amnesty International, a touché plus de 125 000 personnes dans plus de 250 communautés, leur permettant de faire valoir leurs droits. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes présents dans 10 pays d'Afrique d'ouest en est. Bénin, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Kenya, Mali, Sénégal, Sierra Leone, Togo, Ouganda. Depuis 4 ans, un budget de plus de 3 352 102 livres sterling est mis à disposition par UKAID et Amnesty International. Cet argent est distribué à tous les partenaires responsables de projets afin que des actions concrètes soient menées dans chaque communauté concernée. Pour que toute personne détentrice de pouvoir en use désormais avec bienveillance, pour que les générations suivantes prennent leur avenir en main, l'éducation est la solution à tous ces problèmes. Au début, il y avait une feuille blanche et tout restait à faire. Aujourd'hui, nous y écrivons nos actions passées et futures, et la liste est longue de ce qui reste à faire. C'est pourquoi nous avons besoin de votre soutien, afin de ne plus jamais revenir à une page blanche.
So that was one of the things that was for me matching actually who I am. So yes, it's a job. It is also a commitment to end human rights violations, to contribute to work with those who need to know more their rights and defend their rights and fight against the abuses they were living on a daily basis. After 10 years of this work, I moved to PASS. PASS is an organization working on innovation in health. It is an organization that is using digital new ways of working to accelerate impact in health. We are working on malaria. We are working on vaccines introduction. We are working on health system strengthening capacities of our laboratories, and it is so where actually you could see that the work we've been doing in Senegal, for example, has been very instrumental in today's response to the COVID outbreak that we have in the country, where we've seen the country are quite ready to respond to that work. Yes, it is important that what we do as a meaning, not only for us, but also for the country where we are living. I strongly believe that this is more than a job. It's not just a job. So all the things that we are doing, and I try all the things that I am doing to translate it to my own commitment and my own engagement on my commitment is the work that we are doing in health in Senegal, of course, but also my own personal engagement on causes like She Decides. I am one of the She Decides champion for Senegal. She Decides movement has been created when Trump decided to cut budget for organization working on abortion and other reproductive health issue, and it has created outrage, and the same outrage has a magnitude worldwide. And I was thinking that being part of the She Decides movement was also something that is showing who I am at the same time. So the rights for women, for girls to decide who to marry to, when to marry, to how many children they would like to have or not have children, how much their voice their voices are important, and how much that we need to give space for young people, for girls to speak out and being unapologetic for being a woman or for being a girl. I am a strong women's rights advocate, human rights advocates, but women's rights, child rights is for me even more important to me, because unfortunately we are seeing lots of abuses happening to women and young people just because they are women and young, and they don't have maybe the same protection that most of the people would are entitled to. And it is not an easy commitment. It is also about fighting against your own family, fighting against those who don't think the same. It is also fighting against your own education that you receive. When you grow up in a family, big family like this, and in a country like in Senegal, very often someone would be deciding what a woman should be doing or is supposed to do, and we spend our time trying to fit in. We spend our time trying to behave in ways that people are expecting us to behave. So on a daily basis, I'm trying just to explain that we are who we are, and we need to embrace the fact that we are who we are, and push hard and as much as possible mentor as a young girls, as women who dare not to be in the same pace. Yes, it is important that we work together and we show this solidarity. And it is almost mandatory when we are in positions of, I put it in brackets, and of power, to use that power to make things move forward. The road is long, the road is not straight, the road is not easy. We will be doing a few steps forward and one step backwards, but it is still one step ahead that we are doing. And it is important that we talk to young people on that. And for me, this is not just about women, talking about women's rights. It's a collective responsibility to make sure that the majority of our population, because this is the reality in most of our African countries, the majority of the populations are women, they can't be left behind. If we want to move forward, if we want to develop our country, we can't afford to leave behind a big portion, the majority of our population. And giving opportunity to our young people, this is the way that we will be changing the game. Giving opportunity to be educated. Yes, education is costly, but try an education or ignorance, it is even more costly. Yes, health is costly, but you see that if the population is not in good health, how they can contribute to the development of the country. And yes, rights are important. Civil rights, economic and social rights are also important. It is a combination of educated, healthy, and an aware population that will make our countries develop. We are seeing lots of tension for the time being around the world, around being a Black in America, but also being a woman somewhere, being a young people in another country, being a minority in another country, a religious minority or an ethnical minority somewhere. We are always the someone else to somebody. So it is important that we think that we can be the arm of this yes and. Yes and means to me being able to give opportunities, to give space, to give voices, to also hold hands to those who dare not. Yes, and is also about reflecting on who I am and things I don't want to live. I don't want to suffer from. I don't want them to be imposed to other people's. Because if we think that what is happening next door is not my problem, so you don't see that next door is next door and quite close to where we are. And the COVID-19 outbreak, pandemic happening in the world is for me a typical example of actually how we are connected in this world. Who could suspect that a virus in a small place in Wuhan will be ending in a small village 500 kilometers from Dakar, the capital of Senegal? Who could imagine that? This shows how connected we are. This shows how important it is that we are sensitive to what is happening, of course, in our country, of course, in our neighborhood, of course, to our families, but also to the world, because what is happening to someone in the world may have an impact in our own life in a way that we couldn't even imagine it. So let's be the yes and for other women, for other young people, for other people who need to have the opportunity to write their own story, because I believe that this is what I've done, coming from a family where in the same conditions, in the same situation, lots of people would surrender, would fall, growing in this family with all the values and all the solidarity and support, meeting people, meeting positive people, meeting less positive people, facing challenges, overcoming challenges, learning from mistakes, and growing gradually. All my career has been from one drop to another drop, to another drop, to another drop, until I'm not saying I have a lake, but I have enough to not be thirsty, and enough to be able to share some of this with other people. I try to do it in my daily life, but also doing it in my professional life, because these are not disconnected. As I was saying, yes, it is a job, and it is also a commitment. It is also a belief that we need to contribute to the development of our country, but also to the advancement of the world, no matter where we are at, and not minimizing any of the drops that we will be putting on the soil. If everybody's drops come to the soil, we will be seeing the tree growing, thriving, blossoming. And this is the aim of my everyday. And this is the values and the things I'm trying to also teach my children. I only have boys. I was dreaming to have only girls, and I have only boys. And it's a funny. I keep on saying I'm the only woman in this house. You need to be aware of that. So I am trying also to grow my children in these values of respecting rights, respecting ourselves, and respecting the others, and treat people as we want to be treated. So yes, it's possible, and we will make it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aminatou. Lots of wisdom, lots of inspiring things in there. So I see we're getting a lot of love from the audience. Amin is saying yes, and being able to hold a hand to those who cannot. Hannah James is saying, Aminatou, you are a champion. Thank you for sharing your story. Vanessa Ellis, women uplifting others. A lot of love in the live chat show. So Aminatou, do you think, this is a question I have for you, do you think there's been an increase, or there has been an increase in the need for global health innovation more than ever, or and the other one is, do you think more than ever before we need to scream louder that everyone's rights is human rights and that half of the population cannot keep oppressing the other half of the population. Do you think it's more than ever we need these things today?
Okay, I would respond yes, we need innovation to accelerate impact. We need to use the power of the technology to accelerate impact, above all in our countries where the means are scarce. This is by innovation that we will be making the difference and achieving the goals so that we are aiming at. It would be a pity not to use all the means that exist, all the technology, all the innovation that exists in health elsewhere in our countries. This is what we are doing at PAS. PAS has been the organization that allowed the Ministry of Health, supported the Ministry of Health to develop the COVID-19 tracker to help trace the cases of positive COVID-19 people, the contact cases, and have a platform, digital platform that would accelerate this COVID response in the country. And we are very proud of our innovation and our ability to bring so quickly technology in the hands of the health system. On human rights, yes, we've seen the outrage created after the killing of Floyd in the US, and it has a worldwide magnitude. And we've seen all these demonstrations. We've organized a small one in Dakar as well in solidarity. Being in this 2020 and still having to say Black Lives Matters is painful. Talking about Me Too is painful. It shows actually how much we need to still be vigilant, still be alert, because anytime we step back or we think that it's done, there is something happening reminding us that it is never done. And it is a continuous battle. So it is something that I strongly believe that we need to keep on shouting, screaming, and those who don't want to hear, they will hear anyway, because we will scream enough and be loud enough to be heard.
Thank you so much, Aminatou. So much wisdom shared there. My co-host, Dorcas, how are you feeling? What do you think about the situation of the world today, according to Aminatou's story?
Look, I just think, Aminatou, you are exactly what we were told you are. You're a powerhouse. You're just incredible. Your story is just full of so many nuggets, from when you were young to where you are right now. I think, the continent and the world is just lucky to have you. I could ask you questions, but I think you covered so much. And I think I'll go back to this episode and I'll just rewatch it again and just learn from you. So I just want to say thank you for making the time to share your beautiful story, your encouraging story. And maybe we could ask our audience if they have any question, if they've learned anything specific there.
Yeah, cool. Our audience, we have a huge one. Please, anyone from the audience, our students today, Professor Duncan, anyone in the audience with a question or was sharing on what our keynote speakers shared today? And okay. Okay. This has been an amazing show. My biggest takeaway today has been what Aminat mentioned, that like this week when our theme has been yes, and there's always there's always going to be a setback, there's going to be hardships, and this is what we tell the kids we mentor at AIM Mentoring, that there's always going to be hurdles, it's always going to be uncomfortable, but always take the next step. Don't sit on an idea and have an idea, work on it, and move on. This has been my takeaway from today. Thank you so much for all our guests. Aminatou, amazing keynote. Prof. Duncan for the 60 seconds. Our live audience, our students, Umar, Mohammed, so amazing. Arnold for the sit back. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been an amazing episode. Dorcas, do you want to close for us?
Look, I think you killed it. You smashed it. You brought it home. You've told us your learnings, and all that's left is to just say goodbye. And we will see everyone tomorrow at 12 p.m. Australian Standard Time. And yeah, it's been great. Thank you everyone for today. See you tomorrow.